Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, Monster Festival for, Fiends, Fairy types. This is the current deck that I was running. I started off playing with Unchained first, going second Unchained. I crafted red reboots because, it was pretty clear that for most people that Labrynth would be the deck to beat. And for me, this, already said it on Twitter, for me this was one of the least enjoyable festivals, simply because there were certain decks, more so Labrynth, that it was just far too powerful. I know that I'm a fan. I get that, the events are the latest ones, I guess, featured towards like the newest cards, the newest set from the, most recent pack. And there's nothing wrong with that. Problem is that for this particular event, Labrynth felt like the deck to go, the deck to beat. It was just far too powerful compared to the other competitive, more so decks, right? It was basically a tier 0 format, so I refused to play, like a mirror match featuring Labrynth. So I started, with Unchained first, crafted red reboots. It was okay. But I think up until like halfway, I was like, let's switch it around, make it more fun, I guess. And that was with Dark World. Dark World with this, or at least in this particular event, has is much better. No hand traps, no Ash. Mexi is fine. You can just deck out your opponent. Problem, without dangers, that's much more difficult to do. But, Ash is this deck's, I guess, biggest weakness. And without Ash, it's very hard to stop this deck. I always go second with this particular build, evenly matched. Maybe seems a bit unorthodox, but, how it goes with these kind of events. People are playing, most people are playing out of their comfort zone, and that's why Roll Degree is also fantastic, or at least was fantastic in the event. Timelord burn at this particular deck, faced multiples of them. Labrynth, of course, even though they can, somewhat bypass Royal Degree, but still, it's one of those extra cards that makes it much, makes that matchup a bit easier, if that makes sense. Same for evenly matched, so I always go second. Again, might seem a little bit unorthodox, but I mean, like, against this particular board, like here for this instance now, I know that, after an Allure 2 draws, after a card destruction, maybe a couple of draws, no field spell, because that will put a card on my side of the field, I should hopefully be drawing into an evenly matched. This strike is kind of weird, but it is what it is. It's just, let me draw evenly, I can go for a game eventually. So 2 draws, go for Upstart, and there finally is one of the evenly matched. And this is how it goes. I mean, no, I was about to say that evenly matched is the instant win con against Labrynth. That's definitely not the case. If, Labrynth players know how to play around it, I've definitely lost multiple games where you go evenly. And, Labrynth does stuff, and they still end on more cards in hand and, eventually on field because of the, the chains and etc. Even though they got like, what is it, even lead for 3 or for 4. It's a sick deck. It was just far too powerful. That's, I think, the biggest like point of feedback I had for this particular event, that, it was just far too powerful. So again, Royal Degree coming in clutch. Multiple times this happened. I always go second, and people are like flip over Cosmos, normal summon Banisher, stuff like that. So the Degree definitely helped out. Again, same for evenly, but that's how it goes with these particular events. So thanks to Royal Degree, my monsters aren't banished, so I can, just use all the effects and eventually will be able to attack for a game. So for this particular event, Dark World, I believe, was one of the better picks. It definitely has a good matchup going second against Labrynth and, other decks as well, DDDs, which I faced multiples of, especially because of evenly matched. A big, weakness, I guess, for Dark World is no dangers. One, the level 4, Chupacabra, I believe the name is. Yeah, I think so, yeah, because Mothman is the other one. That's a small hinder, I guess, stuff like Upstart definitely helps, Chicken Game definitely helps, then again, Chicken Game kind of conflicts with evenly, and I prefer evenly much more. Alright, yeah, another deck I was running in this particular festival against, graveyard heavy decks, and again, I'm looking at Labrynth with, like the furniture cards, was Puppetry. Puppetry is not so common, at least a not so common Dark World card that is a quick play spell that lets you banish up to 3 cards, I think, yeah, from both players' graveyards. So, like, as soon as your opponent uses at least their furniture cards, the cuckoo, the clock, they'll all be in the graveyard, and because of the chains, you can chain your quick play spell to banish all of them. So that's definitely a solid one. Plus its graveyard effect is also good, so I definitely liked that one. Definitely overperformed in this particular event. Puppetry, that is. Same for Royal Degree. Like here, sadly no Puppetry to prevent both furniture cards, you know, being added back, either on hand or on field, but this is fine. Again, less interruptions, no back row, so I finally now can start playing. Yeah, this is a grindy one, a long duel, but I mean, the thing is that if Dark World is able to, you know, still no battle phase, but if Dark World is able to, you know, get the engine going, you should be winning. And what I was about to say is that I think one of the biggest weaknesses of this deck still is the lack of extra deck, as in powerful extra deck cards. One of the best ones I feel that I made the most was Muckraker. You know, discard to potentially trigger Dark World, Reborn, something like Snoww. I should probably have done that, like, was it this duel or one of the previous duels, Reborn Snoww, and then, you know, surge the fusion spell, right? And that's also one of the weaknesses of this deck is it feels that you're constantly battling against a clock, against a timer. Same for ranked duels with Dark Worlds. It's just you're constantly drawing, special summoning, etc, etc. That's my feeling with Dark World. So eventually, again, this is my duel, right? There is Puppetry banishing 3 cards and then discard the card. What is Lucius? Lucent, yeah, definitely a good one. And okay, no battle phase still. So I go indeed for Muckraker, get something back. Here is the game where, or at least maybe I don't have a Snoww. Even though there is like, what is it, 15 to 20 cards left in the deck, no Snoww. It's fine though. So this is again somewhat of a lackluster board, but it's again fine. You know, Labrynth on only 1 card. What is it? Is it Big Welcome or just Welcome Labrynth? So this is my duel, right? Lady hits the field, getting a couple of draws, and now it's just, you know, just a time as well. Okay, yeah, Archives is also, I mean, standard Dark World decks are running 1 Archives, that's with dangers, but now I feel for this particular event, yeah, it worked out, double, you know, Archives. Puppetry using its graveyard effect, so banish itself and then get back one of your banished Dark World monsters again, like a Grapha, for example. And again, this should be more than enough to deck for a game. So I was having fun with Dark Worlds, and like, let's say always going second, like they can even go first, like no joke, as you know, like Dark Worlds going first with degree, some setup, etc. But obviously you want to go second. Evenly matched now is getting negated by the Ultimate Providence. Your opponent does not need to discard the card of the same type because of Guiding Ariadne, and like I've played some toxic decks as well here on what is it, the Athena, draw your entire deck and then burn your opponent, you know, it like every time you draw a fairy, it's not Athena, I can't remember, but every time you draw a fairy you draw 1 extra card, and eventually, you know, you can pendulum summon stuff and do burn damage to your opponent. So not having impermanence, it's most of the time an instant loss, and that's like another toxic deck that was able to be played in this particular festival. So for me this is fine, but I mean, with some small changes, I guess some less powerful full tier 0 decks and maybe some FTK cards here and there. I mean, it's just feedback, right, for these particular events. Okay, so how was your event? Like, what deck did you pilot? Maybe suggestions for this particular deck, always welcome. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Signing out. Peace.